Welcome to the K Plus J Living Podcast,
where we talk about designing a meaningful home, better health, and more happiness.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 18. Yes, 18 of the K Plus J Living Podcast. I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Jennifer Cupp. And in this week's episode, we're going to be talking about what are you afraid of? So here's the backstory on that. We're going to talk about risk and risk management and, a lot of things that we're scared of in life that were the what ifs are the questions I think that we ask ourselves. And we just took a couple weeks off because we were opening up our brand new store, the K Plus J Living store located in Milan, Illinois at 321 First West Avenue in Milan. We're open once a month. Our next opening is October 18th, 19th, and 20th. And that was a little risky. And there was a lot of things we were scared of. And we're through the first month. And I don't think it was as scary as we thought it would be.
It was scary, but it was good.
Sure was. Yeah, but I don't think it was as bad as we thought.
No.
Yeah, so here's what we mean when we are asking this question, what are you afraid of? I think a lot of us, we want comfort, we want predictability, we want to know that we know that we know. And when we really are quiet and quiet our souls and ask ourselves the honest question, what is actually predictable? What do we actually know? And what can we actually control? Well, the answer to that is not very much. And, if there's things that we're scared of, maybe we have this dream or this desire. Like K Plus J Living, the whole idea of the company was, it was a dream, it was a desire, it was a hunger, it was something we were passionate about and something that we wanted to do and start. And there was all kinds of risk involved, financial risk, time commitment risk, there's all kinds of different pieces, of the woulda, coulda, shoulda questions that we all ask ourselves. And there's the safety of your day job, so to speak. But is there really safety in your day job? Not so much, because we don't really know. Anything could go away at any point in time. So I think a lot of times, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I think a lot of times we play it safe. And there's nothing wrong with wisdom. There's nothing wrong with, planning and having a good plan and what I call, calculated risk. Calculated risk is when you kind of project out and you plan, and then you finally jump and take the risk because you feel like you've looked at every single side and every single angle. I think that's wisdom. That's called calculated risk. But at some point in time, you have to jump and just go for it. Otherwise, I think we end up with this woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of mentality. And I've heard this line that says we end up shooting all over ourselves. So, S-H-O-U-L-D, shooting all over ourselves because we never really pursued the things that we were passionate about, and we played it safe. And we don't want to end up, years down the line in our life and say, boy, I wish I would have done that, X, Y, or Z, but instead I played it safe.
Well, and really at the end of the day, we just kind of looked at each other when we started this and we said, what have we got to lose? And maybe we're crazy, but we were, okay, so let's just, play it down, let's just say worst case scenario, you lose your house.
Yeah, walk down that
scary path of what do you really have to lose? And that sounds horrible when you first think of it. That's a big deal. But at the end of the day, it's just it's I don't know.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's not the end of the world.
It's not your health. It's not your loved ones.
And we didn't lose our house to do this. But we walked down that, we said, okay, let's just play this out. Let's just say, what if? What if we do this and it bombs? What does that actually look like? And we walked down through all of the things that we would lose. But the things that we would still have is each other and our children and our family and our dog. We didn't bring her here with us tonight, though.
We did not. We were at the store right now.
She's not here, but we have one fly, and she's just as annoying as our dog. It's like right around her head.
Yes.
But anyway, we walked down that imaginary what-if path together, and we realized that they're just things. You know, they're just things, and it's not the end of the world. We still have each other. We still have a place. We wouldn't be out on the street. We have, you know, other things that we can do.
And I think we spend a lot of our time, meaning humans, wondering what other people will think about us, and it usually has to do with the people that aren't thinking about us in the first place, and that their opinion really doesn't mean jack. And the people that love us and care for us aren't thinking the negative things about us anyways. You know, it's kind of like the whole keeping up with the Joneses, you know. If I don't keep up with them, or if I don't look this way, or, you know, at the end of the day, those things don't matter. And I think we have a lot of fear, human beings, we have a lot of fear of what ifs. And I think it keeps a lot of us from pursuing our dreams and going for what would really bring us true fulfillment, true contentment, and true happiness. So, yeah. You have anything else to add to that? You say, yeah.
You said it all.
Oh, well, we're not done with our podcast yet, by the way. We're on this journey of risk right now as a couple. We're risking all kinds of different things. You know, we left... we're on our own, that we are our own boss. We set our own schedule, but also that means that if the paychecks don't come in, that's because of us, that everything rises and falls on what we do or don't do. And to some people, that's really scary. We're not saying that it's wrong to go to work for someone else or to work another job somewhere else. We're not saying that at all. There's nothing wrong with that. What we're wanting to encourage you with in this podcast is that if there's something deep down inside of you where you're just afraid to try, we want to encourage you to try. And sometimes you can try without quitting your day job. You can just begin to...
You can do a side hustle.
Right, a side hustle. That's right where I was going. You can tinker and see how it works and see if it builds momentum on that. We've done that with lots of things in our life, and we're getting ready to start some cool things. Why don't you talk about Wine Down Wednesday here? Well,
most importantly, there's going to be wine. But I don't think I'll have my favorite wine, but that's okay.
I'm laughing at that because Jennifer's favorite wine is Winking Owl from Aldi. It's not bad, but
it's $2.89. It's delicious cheap for that. I mean, really, $2.89. You can't beat it.
There's zero risk and zero fear
when you buy that.
$2.89.
One day I was really nervous because he brought back a bottle of wine for me, and he said he spent quite a bit on it. And so I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to appreciate this. You really should not have done this.
No, yeah, I jokingly said, I thought I would splurge and buy you an expensive bottle of wine because I know how much you love wine.
And I was terrified.
I said, I want you to let me know what you think.
So I tasted it, and I was like, well, it is really good, but I don't know. I'm not a wine connoisseur. I like it, but I can't tell, anything. And so I said, well, how much did you spend on this? You wasted it on me. And it was like, what?
$7. I was joking.
Yeah, it tasted the same as the $2.89. Sorry.
But it's like 2.5 bottles of Winking Owl.
Well, yeah, that's true. It was much bigger. So anyway, we are doing Wine Down Wednesdays starting soon. We don't have a date set in stone yet, but it is coming up.
We're waiting on our liquor license from the city of Milan is why. To legally...
Maybe they're listening, and they'll push it through faster.
Yeah. Go, Milan, go.
You got this. So we are waiting on that, and as soon as we get the green light, we will start our Wine Down Wednesdays. We've already been talking with some different local artists that are going to be coming in. And vendors. They're going to be doing make and take, so you'll be able to stop in after work on a Wednesday, have a glass of wine.
What's a make and take for someone that doesn't know?
Oh, well, it's where you make something and you take it with you.
But you make what? Like spaghetti or like
no,
like something creative?
creative. Spaghetti is not creative. Well, maybe it is. Not for me.
Not for us.
I'm a terrible cook. No, so the different vendors and artists will have things set up. So let's say Chalk and Tree is a perfect example. She makes signs.
We love Chalk and Tree.
I know, she's great. I love her stuff. And she does, she did a make and take recently at the Becky Fest. And so what she did was she had several different signs set up that you could choose which one you wanted to make. And so you would just choose which one. And she would kind of walk you through the process, and you would, just pay for whichever thing that you're making. But then we'll also have some wine. And so kind of while the paint is drying or whatever it is, in between steps, maybe you can do some shopping. There will be some things here still.
To make sure everything's straight and looks proper on your make and take. The vendors will be there to help you in case you've drank too much wine.
I was like, where are you going with it? They will. Well, they'll be here to show you how to make it.
And we will too.
Yeah, and we'll be here. So it'll just be a fun little evening that we'll be doing. And then some of the artists are also going to be doing classes. So maybe something that takes a little longer or a certain technique that they really want to teach. Then those will be on a separate night, and we'll have those out as well. Mm-hmm. He's eating candy.
I have a whole little basket of...
I'm not eating any.
Of Snickers.
I'm not. Keep that away from me.
It's very tasty.
Yeah, you already had ice
I am
cream
not
too.
afraid of Snickers. I had leftover Whitey's. I'm kind of like...
Well, pumpkin.
I'm on a sugar high. I'm sorry, folks.
All right, what next?
Well, again, I think when it comes to what are you afraid of, maybe you're not the most outgoing person. And maybe this Wind Down Wednesday or some of our classes would be a great thing for you to invite other people to and pool some of your work friends together and just step out. But one of the big questions that I wanted to ask is, what do you want to do with your life? Because you only have one life. We've talked about this before on this podcast, but what is your one thing? What do you do that causes you to lose track of time? A lot of times those are the things that we're the most passionate about. And
does napping with your dog count?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
it causes
I'm
you
very
to lose track
passionate about that. I lose track of time.
You are a pro.
Yeah.
A professional at that. Mm-hmm. But what are you doing to begin to pursue that thing and overcome your fear? Because you have one life, and even if you don't do it full time, you can't blow up flies at the mic.
Sorry.
Otherwise, now Jennifer's blowing it. We have like 3 flies in here.
It's just circling our head, and it landed
we
on the
propped
mic.
The door open the other day when we were open for our store.
They're still here.
And Jennifer thought it would be great to blow right into the microphone. So I'm sorry for all of you that are listening to this now and driving this big, hurricane sound into your speakers.
Sorry.
But what are you doing to go for it? We have some great vendors that are going for it. They're running their businesses. They're giving it a shot. They're overcoming the fear. And we're not talking about blind stupidity and not planning and not strategizing, but, maybe you are just crippled with fear, but you feel deep inside of you that you should try something or go for something. We would love to connect with you and help you kind of walk through that and help you understand, what's some risk aversion things you can do? What are some things you can do to really take that jump and take that leap?
Give 3 tips. What could you do if you have an idea or you're wanting to do something? What's top 3 tips? Go.
Put me on the spot. But I think number 1 is understand your purpose and values. You'll hear me say this over and over again to people. I'm doing some coaching with a client this coming Monday, a week from today. And we're going to be talking about purpose and values, because if you don't know what your purpose in life is and you don't know what your values are, which is really who you are and how you behave are really the 2 things we're talking about, then it's very difficult to move on from there, because otherwise we end up chasing rabbit trails rather than understanding who we are. So understanding why you're here on this earth. Jennifer and I are here to help people design a meaningful home, better health, and more happiness. Another way I used to say this is helping you live your best life. It's kind of that same thing as but really it's that theme of how do we help people find the most joy, the most happiness in this life that they have here. And that's our purpose as a couple. So then values is how you behave. What are the things that you value? For us, it's faith, it's family, it's integrity, it's Dogs. Yeah, I don't know if that's one of our values, but Jennifer always seems to throw that in there.
Sorry.
We do love our pupperoonie. But purpose and values would be one. We can help with that. Two, I would say walk down the worst case scenario track and write out we did this before we launched K Plus J Living, is what is the worst possible things that could happen, and walk those things out. And usually it's not as bad as you think. And then third is run some rough numbers, a rough budget of what it would cost for you to do this full-time, do this part-time, and what you would need, and run out those projections. We did this for our company as 1-year projections, quarterly projections, monthly projections, and then daily projections. What we need to make daily to meet our budget and to get ahead of where we want to be. And I would say fourth would be, kind of back with purpose a little bit, but what are you doing to contribute back to society? Because really, living is giving, and one of the big reasons that we don't talk about very much on this podcast is one of the reasons we really want to start K Plus J Living Company was because we're connected to an orphanage in South America. We're connected to a ministry in South America that also has to do with this orphanage. And this is our way to be able to make income that we could also help to support and give back to what's going on in South America. That's one of our underlying principles, and we've been able to help with that, and that adds value to our life. It adds value to other people's lives, and we know that through our company we're helping to make an impact in other people's lives. So that's a few of those things, but what are you afraid of? Make that list. What's keeping you from taking the leap, from trying it? You can try things without going bankrupt, without taking the plunge and going for everything. You can just try, and it's okay to try. It's okay to fail. I always talk about failing fast. When we fail fast, we learn from those things, then we try something new. It's okay. One of the things that I've done in my life that I've enjoyed so much is I've tried a lot of different things. I've been a pastor for 20 years. I also worked in construction, and through construction, I have my construction company now. I've learned different things within construction. I've learned different things with business and how businesses run and how to help. And businesses really are just people and interacting with people. So then it's also human resources stuff, how to work as a team and how to get along with each other, which has led to the coaching and stuff that I have done. But just trying a lot of different things and learning and reading tons of different books has been one of the greatest things. I feel like at 42, I've lived this full life because I've tried a lot of different things. And I have a lot of different little tiny hobbies that I don't get to do all the time, but I'm just constantly looking for ways to learn and grow and just enjoy life and what do they say? Suck them. This isn't the right.
What?
Suck the marrow out of life. What's that phrase? It's not right.
I don't know. That sounds terrible.
What is it? I don't know what it's called.
You're gonna have to come back.
Someone should write back what I'm trying to say, but it's just like get the most out of life. I've tried to do that. I feel like Jennifer has too.
I don't know that my list is that interesting, but I've been right next to you.
Right.
While you're doing all those things.
Drug you along.
Well, I'm pretty, once I get focused on something, I'm pretty happy to keep running on that track. And so as long as I can keep it fresh and interesting, I was very happy in my studio for a long, long time. So
yeah,
photography is my thing.
Yeah. And here we are doing a retail store.
Yes.
Which ties right in. How would you say that the retail store thing ties into photography to help people kind of understand you and.
Well, so for me, kind of the quirky thing about me as a photographer is if you look at my work, even going back to when I was little, my mom she has told me that when I was little, I would take a baby blanket and I would just spend all this time like spreading it out and making it smooth and making it, no wrinkles and laying my baby in there and wrapping it up perfectly. And so I think it's kind of funny that even as a toddler, I was doing that. And so now if you look at my work, I'm kind of known for like with my newborn images, that everything is just perfect and just so. But the thing that I love about why newborns are my favorite is because I love setting up the scene. So I've always been a photographer that uses a lot of props, but not in like a cheesy way or maybe overdone. I don't know, maybe some people would think, but I like to put it together and make sense. And so, maybe people would come to me and dad's a golfer or mom's a doctor, or, they would bring me these things that are really important to them. And so it was my job to create a scene that made sense with baby in there. And it created something that added value to their home. It meant something to them. It wasn't just a snapshot of their baby. And so one of my favorite things is to set up that scene. And I like the newborns because I can get them to sleep and they'll stay there. Whereas a 2-year-old is very unpredictable. I can set up the scene and they're not going to do what mom wants them to do, which I love 2-year-olds too. But that's why newborns are my favorite. I love setting up. I love thinking about the colors and talking to them about what's going to work in their home. And so part of me putting this store together, it's like a really big prop set to me. Like, I don't know where that quirky part of me comes from. Although I was thinking the other day, my family had a True Value hardware store when I was little, and I would go stay with them. And my favorite part of the store was the giftware section, or the housewares, whatever. And I just would love to watch my aunt like make little end cap displays and stuff, and she'd pull out all the little pieces of fabric, and they'd make all these, back in the 80s, glassware, like anniversary dishes. And but anyway, I just remember watching her putting those displays together, and I don't know, I just like doing that. It's kind of a quirky thing about me, I guess.
I think it's great. I think that's part of...
I've always done that in our home, too, like with shelves and things. I'm always putting vignettes together, and I've done that since the day we got married,
Yeah, so part of asking that question of what do you fear, I think underlying is the question is what are other people going to think? And really, it doesn't matter what other people think. If you feel like you're pursuing your purpose and you're adding value to other people, just be encouraged with that. Because if you feel like you're helping humanity and you're living out what God designed you to be, then it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. So be encouraged with that this week. And hey, thanks for listening to episode 18. If you're listening to this and you came and checked out our new store, thank you. Because stores don't happen unless customers come in. And customers come in because somebody likes what you're doing. And if you like what we're doing, we so appreciate you. We appreciate you. Even if you didn't come to the store and you just love our podcast, we appreciate you. And we hope it adds value to you in some small way. And if it does, we'd ask that you would hop onto iTunes and you'd rate this podcast, because it helps it go up in the ratings, which helps us, but it also helps other people discover the K+J Living Podcast. Also, we'd love to connect with you on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. We're on all of them, and we would love to connect with you there. And also, you can email us. We'd love to hear your story on how the K+J Living Company is helping to add value to your life. You can email us, contact@k+jliving.company. And we'll see you next week, everybody. Take care.
Bye.